I'm in Shenandoah National Park, and this is Lands Run Gap, mile marker 9. Yep, there it is, my little red car. Right up there, Skyline Drive, and I'm gonna go down this way like I did last week, looking for some more landmarks pertaining to the apple orchard and another abandoned road. So let's get started. Four-tenths of a mile into my hike, I'm down to 1,780 feet, and I'm back to, stepped off the fire road. The fire road's way up there. I'm back to a spot that I saw last week that has what looks like two grave markers to me. That one right there, and one that's a little bit shorter right over here. I'm back here because I'm going to bushwhack a little further over this way to the east and look for a property boundary marker. I'm not expecting to find any sort of a monument or anything. They're calling it Hog Rock. I've got an approximate location, so I'm going to go over here and see if I can see any sort of a prominent, outcropping or something. Half mile into my hike. The elevation here is 1830, and I believe I'm within 140 feet or so of the old map and showing where the property boundaries were. This is supposed to be Hog Rock. I'll show it when I do the map talk. I'll do a 360 pan. You'll see this is the most prominent rock in this area, and it's within about 140 feet of the location described. The Lands Run Fire Road's way over there. I've actually crossed over the headwaters. Right now they're dry, but I'm on the other side of the headwaters are down there. Lands Run headwaters are down there. The fire road's way over there. There are some other rocks, but this one's the most prominent, and it's within about 140 feet of where it should be, so I'm pretty sure that's it right there. So I'll get an accurate set of coordinates for that, and you can see I put my trucking poles there for scale. It's probably 8 feet high or so. Seven-tenths of a mile into my hike. I'm down to 1,810 feet, and getting ready to veer off to the left here. There's an old abandoned road right there. So, and it shows up on some of the older maps, so I'm going to follow that and see where it takes me. 8/10 of a mile into my hike. Elevation here is 1,820 feet. That's where I came from. This old road winds itself around this big hill here. So I followed it to here, and I'm getting ready to cross over. This is these are the headwaters of Lands Run, another piece of it. I'll cross over here, and then maybe you can see the road goes on up over to the right. And from the maps, it turns back around to the left, and you climb up on this ridge and follow this for a ways. So let me see if I can get across here without falling in. Okay, well, I'm up on the ridge now. That's where I came from. As soon as you get up here, though, this road heads off in a couple different directions, but I'm going to follow the map. The map shows, I guess, the main part of the road here up on the top of the ridge. So I'm going to follow this a ways. Okay, I ran out of road going around that turn, so I backtracked. Now I'm back on the known part of the road, and right over here to the right, I think maybe the road makes a sharp bend and just follows this ridge line up to the intersection. I thought maybe it went around the side there, but I ran out of road. I see a few rocks piled up on the left and right over here, so this might be the road. I'm gonna take this branch and see if this puts me up to the intersection. .3 miles into my hike, I'm up to 1,980 feet. I'm up on the main road now. Meaning this road comes from Compton Gap in that direction. I've hiked this road before. If you look on my YouTube channel, you should be able to find it. I start over there a couple miles and come this way, and this takes you to the apple orchard that I hiked last week, and then on down to Lands Run Fire Road, which is where I want to go now. This is where I came up. Well, you can see, maybe you can see there's rocks lined up on the left and the right, and then right in through here, like right there. Well, there's a big tree there now, but there's hardly any rocks there. So I came up on this ridge line here. I'll explain it on the map talk. But it looks to me, by the old map, it looks like, yeah, maybe if I had just continued bushwhacking around in that little valley over there, that comes around over to here and runs into this main road over there where it crosses the headwaters. So I checked my GPS. It's only a quarter of a mile from here over to the apple orchard stuff. So I think, and that's over there in that area is where I want to go. So I think I'm just gonna, instead of backtracking, I think I'm just gonna bushwhack my way over there this quarter of a mile, and then I'll have to bushwhack down to Lands Run Fire Road. .6 miles into my hike, I'm up to 1,920 feet, and I'm up here near the apple orchard where the farmhouse was that I've never been able to find. I'm standing up on the main road. That's the way I came from. Came down here until I located this benchmark. This is the one I showed you in my previous hike. Benchmark S141, dated 1935. So from here, I'm just going to bushwhack down the hill, down to the fire road. And then once I get down there, I'm going to look for some more property boundaries and also another old abandoned road that's over this way somewhere. But this is a good jumping off point for me to. All I have to do is head down this hill and I'll eventually run into the fire road. So let's go. Well, I wandered around up top there where the apple orchard was. There's a whole lot of overgrown areas up there. And I didn't see much of anything. I found a couple traces of other roads up there. So maybe I can explain it all when I get to the map talk. But anyway, I'm descending on Lands Run Fire Road. Down here around this bend, a little further, I'm going to jump off and look for another one of these property corners. It's supposed to be a large stone that they set in the middle of a field. We'll see if I can find anything. 2.2 miles into my hike, I'm down to 1,660 feet. That's where I came from, down the fire road. I'm at a bend here in the road, and I'm gonna jump off here because this looks like an easy off-ramp for me. And then I'm gonna head on down that way a little ways, looking for another property boundary marker. It's supposed to be a stone in the middle of a field. Now that was a description in 1916. That was more than 100 years ago. Who knows if I can find it. .3 miles into my hike, I'm down to 1,610 feet. And been looking around for property corner number 8. I'll show you on the maps when I do the map talk. It was described as being a stone in a field. So I got the coordinates off the Shenandoah land records. And that's the only thing I find. That thing is within about 50 feet of the coordinates I had. And I'll just do a quick pan here. You can see, I mean, there's other rocks laying around, but nothing really prominent. So I'm gonna guess. See that? A rock in a field. How about a rock on a slope? I don't know. I think that might be it. It's kind of curious that there's a couple of dead trees that grew up there. I wonder if when they planted that thing, if they planted a couple of trees that just never did quite make it. There's another one there that didn't make it. Anyway, I'm getting tired of looking for this stuff, so I'm going to climb back up and get back up on the fire road. But I think this is property corner number 8. .5 miles into my hike, I'm down to 1,660 feet. And that's where I came from, down the fire road. And I'm here at another bend. And I'm going to turn left. I saw this last week when I was hiking. And this is another abandoned road that heads up the mountain. So I'm gonna jump off here and follow this up a little ways to see where it goes, so that it's on my GPS track. .8 miles into my hike, I'm back to 1,670 feet. I hiked up that old road as far as I could, maybe a couple of tenths of a mile. It'll be on my GPS track. And then I hit a wall. I couldn't go any further. There was just too many thorny things, bushes and thorny vines and all that. So finally I turned around and came back out. So from here I'm going to start heading back up towards Lands Run Gap where my car is. And I got to go past a waterfall, so I'll get a few shots of that on the way back. 3.2 miles into my hike. The elevation here is 1730. Getting ready to cross over Lands Run. There's one of the feeders over there to the right, and the waterfall is down here to the left. So I'll climb down there a little ways to get a shot of it, see what it looks like today. This is a map of today's hike. The quadrangle name is Chester Gap, 1994, and this was mostly a bushwhack hike in the area that once was the Pomeroy Wines Orchard. This is a follow-on hike to the one that I published last week in this same area. You park right here at Lands Run Gap. There's a nice parking lot here, and then this is a fire road that comes down the west side of the mountain, and it goes all the way down to the bottom of the mountain. Came down here and then jumped off looking for this property corner number 5 for this orchard. It's a rock that they refer to in the meets and bounds description as hog rock. So I went over here to a location that was in the Shenandoah National Park online records and looked around and found what I believe is that rock. It's the biggest one around. You'll see that in the video. Came back, and in this area here is where those 2 grave markers are. You'll see them too also. Back out onto the fire road. You come down to here. Now here the fire road makes a sharp bend to the right. I took a left, and starting here, this is an old abandoned road. It's a little hard to follow in places though, but now that the leaves are coming off the trees, it's a little easier to follow it. Followed it over here and crossed over Lands Run, then up on this ridge line, and basically followed this ridge line to here. Now here's where it runs into what I'm calling the main road, which is a road that starts, it's also abandoned, but it starts over here at Compton Gap and brings you all the way over here through the orchard. So So once I got up to here, I decided that I was just going to bushwhack. This is about a quarter of a mile over here to this S141 is a survey benchmark right there. Once I got to here, I started wandering around. The farmhouse was up here in this area somewhere, so every time I come up through here, I wander around, see if I can find anything. You can tell people lived up here because it's all overgrown now and it was cleared off once upon a time because it's all grown back really nasty and thorny. Hopefully you'll see that in the videos. But I bushwhacked my way up here to the very top as close as I could get, and without getting eaten alive by thorns. Then I started bushwhacking down the side of the mountain to here, to this property corner number 7, which was described as a large oak tree. You know, now there's so many trees around, it's hard to know which one is exactly the one. But when I got down to the coordinates, I was standing very close to a large oak, so that could be it. Then I came down and got onto the fire road and hiked down to this bend. And then I jumped off the fire road and I wandered around down here in this area until looking for, it was described as a rock planted in a field. Property corner number 8. I'm pretty sure I found that also. There's a number of rocks down there that could be the point, but there's only one that looks like it was planted. The rest of them look like natural outcroppings to me, so I think I found it. Then back up on the fire road till I got down to this bend right here. Then I jumped off and hiked. This is another abandoned road section over to here and back, and then basically back up to my car. Let me show you, because not everybody looks at every single video that I publish. Well, let me come back to the modern map first. If you'll notice that I've drawn the property boundary in like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10's here, but I didn't mark it, and then 11, and then back to 1. So it's an irregularly shaped boundary. Here's the survey from 1916. Which shows it's more or less drawn to a scale. And then back then, surveys came with what's called a meets and bounds description. And here's the description from 1916. If you want to read it, you can pause the video and take a look. And I convert the distances the bearings are true bearings, and the distances are given in poles, P-O-L-E-S, which is 16.5 feet is one pole. So it's just an opportunity to go back and bushwhack around and you know, look at some of these old abandoned roads that I haven't had a chance to look at up until now. Ended up being 3.9 miles. And total ascent 923 feet. And that was the hike for today.